comments of another first, of Eric Holder, the first African-American attorney general in this country. During a speech in Black History Month, he talked about this nation as being a nation of cowards for not discussing the history of U.S. racism more openly. Do you agree?
Yes, he told the truth. Every one of us has the right to choose our own language, and some of us, some persons might not have used the word coward or cowardly or any derivative thereof. But at the end of the day, the evidence abounds that we do not like, we are not comfortable discussing the issue of race in America. It is the very reason that the mainstream media was so quick to try to promulgate this notion of living in a post-racial America just because we have a black man in the White House. As I said earlier, or intimated earlier, America may be less racist, but we're not post-racial. Clearly, a lot of white folk voted for Barack Obama to be in the White House. Black folk couldn't have done that alone. So America may be less racist, and I celebrate that, obviously, but we're not post-racial. And Eric Holder was right to suggest, in his language, that we just aren't comfortable having the discussion of race in the most multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethnic America ever. I don't know what the brouhaha was all about that. He told the truth. Many of us live in cities that are too segregated. The evidence in housing, in employment, environmental racism you discussed earlier on this program at the summit that took place in Washington this past weekend. And Van Jones talks powerfully about how we have to green the ghetto first. He and Majora Carter. The evidence abounds that racism is still the most intractable issue in this country, and many of us, most Americans, like to stay in our own corners. We don't want to venture out. Many of us don't have a circle of friends that includes people of color, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and we want to act like Eric Holder was playing politics, that he was being provocative, that he wasn't telling the truth. He told the truth, and I just don't get all the brouhaha. The truth will set us free if we're willing to deal with it.
Tavis, I wanted to ask you about the latest news that the Obama administration has announced the United States will boycott the World Conference Against Racism in Geneva next month unless its final document drops all references to Israel and reparations for slavery. We were just talking last week on Democracy Now! To Mary Robinson, the former president of Ireland, the former head of the UN Human Rights Commission, who was one of the heads of the Durban Conference 1 that happened right before the September 11th attacks when the U.S. walked out. What's your response?
I think it's a mistake. We have a bad and spotty track record as the United States of America of boycotting too many of these conferences and boycotting for the wrong reasons. I don't know how in the world that we can justify boycotting a world conference on racism, as I said a moment ago, when in this country, racism is still the most intractable issue in America. It is, quite frankly, a disappointment.
Do you